I don't think I have the right combination of words to fully encapsulate the vibes. That's it. That's all we've got to talk about. The vibes. Yesterday, I feel like I did a decent enough post-game video considering the personal circumstances in which I was a part of in yesterday's festivities. But the Habs beat the Caps in Game 3. 6-3. It's a 2-1 Washington lead, and you did not need me to tell you that, because you probably already knew. You probably watched the game. If you didn't, you probably watched the highlights. You probably saw the Montreal Canadiens come alive. This team has life, folks. This team, despite being down 2-0 in the opening series against the best team in the East, this Habs team, I don't know what to say. I feel like there's such a good energy surrounding this team, an energy that I don't think I have felt personally as a Habs fan for this team since maybe the first round of the 2021 series against Toronto. Now, don't get me wrong, the Habs did go to the Stanley Cup Finals in that run. They breezed by Winnipeg, thanks Mark Scheifele's suspension, and they beat Vegas quite handily. But against Toronto, that's when the Montreal Canadiens were like, oh crap, we're in a playoff series. We gotta get back in there and we gotta win. And they did that. They were down 3-1. And they won games, some of them in overtime. And ultimately came out of that series with the 3-1 comeback. And I was like, you know what? That's the vibe. That's the same vibe that I'm getting with this team right now. There's so much life that was brought into this team via the Bell Center, via the fans in the stands, via the chanting, via the fight that we saw from Josh Anderson bullying Tom Wilson. Sure, things aren't perfect in Habs land. You don't want to see Sammy Montembeault get hurt. You don't want to see Patrik Laine get hurt. But isn't it kind of weird how when Patrik Laine gets taken out of the lineup and you have Demidov with Newhook and Jake Evans instead? Not to mention the fact that you have Demidov out there on the power play first unit. Isn't it crazy how, considering those circumstances with Laine out, the Habs looked so much incredibly better than they had in games 1 or 2. The deserve to win-o-meter from last night's game was at 86% for Montreal. They had so many expected goals and chances, and they had a whole bunch of opportunities throughout. Juraj Slafkovsky leading the charge with all of these high grade A danger chances. That guy's a man possessed. Ivan Demidov starting to get more minutes. Now, I know it's easy to say that he's getting more minutes when he's out there on the first power play, and the Canadiens are getting, surprise, surprise, a ton of power plays. But this is more so what we came to expect out of Demidov. Not necessarily a guy who's going to start scoring every single shift like he did almost in the KHL, despite the limited minutes, but a guy who would need to get adjusted to NHL speed, NHL pace, NHL gameplay, and just learn how to condition himself to playing a full 60-minute effort, because as we all saw in Ivan Demidov's first NHL game, he was partly responsible for one of the goals that Chicago scored in the comeback. It was not good, the back check that he had displayed. It's game 1 of his career in the NHL, who cares, it's whatever. But now in the postseason, you're seeing this guy make those adjustments on the fly. He's like, okay, this is the level of fitness and commitment that I need to give out in order to fully sustain myself in a 60-minute National Hockey League game. And he's given the reps too on the power play because the Habs have so many gosh darn power plays. Not to mention everybody else getting in on the action too. The one-tees, man. The Habs were just locking and loading, using the flex and whipping the stick with the one-tees. Gallagher, Caulfield, Slafkovsky just throwing it towards the goal, really giving Logan Thompson a hard time. Of course, though, nobody gave Thompson as difficult of a time as his own teammate in Lindstrom. Amazing to see how that went down. But despite the fact that things aren't perfect in Habs land, you don't want to see Laine injured, you don't want to see Montembeault injured, despite the fact that the series has had its hurdles so far, this Habs team is running on all vibes, man. The vibes are immaculate, and we cannot go out there and ignore it. This is the thing, like, I get it, you can say it's one game, it's one series. Guess what? Montreal won a game in the Stanley Cup Finals when they lost to Tampa 3 years ago. What's one game gonna do? Well, in this case, honestly, it kind of did everything. Imagine if Montreal doesn't get the win in game number 3. If they're down 3-0 to Washington, even if it's a close game, there is a really legitimate chance for Montreal to just straight up fizzle out and lose out on the momentum that they had gained throughout this series and towards the end of the season. Now, I know I've been saying the bonus hockey line this entire time. The Habs are playing bonus hockey, it's house money, they weren't supposed to make the playoffs, but now they're here. And I still subscribe to that philosophy. It's just, I can sympathize with Canadiens fans who are also getting upset. I said it's probably not a good thing to get upset, but I can still understand where y'all are coming from when Habs fans start complaining about the lack of production from Laine and how Demidov was looking bad alongside of Laine, etc., etc., etc. It was a really big deal because the Habs were barely losing these games, yet they were down 2-0. If the Habs found themselves down 3-0, then sayonara, that's almost essentially what you need to say good night on the series. But 3-0 is so much different than 2-1. And now, would it not be fair to say that Montreal has the advantage in the next few games here? I mean, obviously, you say that the team that had the most recent win has momentum. That's just how it goes. But beyond just the good old wins and losses, I feel like Montreal controlled Game 3 in such a way that I refuse to believe the Washington Capitals can just easily put that on the back burner and forget about it. I think that they might have gotten scarred from this game. Oh well, it's one game, right? And they were the best team in the Eastern Conference this season, so we'll see what happens in Game 4, whether or not Montreal is able to use the momentum that they gained from Game number 3 to help them out and hopefully edge out Washington even more. But even beyond that, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the vibes? That's all I want to ask. The vibes. Lane Hutson stealing the puck from the great 8 himself to set up Cole Caulfield in front on the backdoor one-timer in the final dying seconds of the second to take the lead. That's all vibes, baby. That's right there. That's perfect. That's a storybook Disney ending to a period. I was about to say to a game. No, it was just the second period. What are your thoughts on the way Nick Suzuki stepped up in his role in this game? What are your thoughts on Juraj Slafkovsky really proving that beast mode Slafkovsky that we saw at the Olympics and the World Championships in 2022? That guy? He might have just arrived into the National Hockey League. What are your thoughts on everything Habs? And, of course, ignoring the Sammy Montembeault injury, we will see what happens later on in today's Montreal Canadiens transaction log to figure out what exactly is going on there. But for now, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.